today, this 245th day, meaningful moments, 365 days. The mystery of the matrix. That's what's been coming to me more and more. And perhaps you've had those experiences where you're somewhere and you kind of feel like, wait a minute, is this really happening right now? And you, just for a flash of a moment, go, what is the reality here? Sometimes it comes from, an exchange that you have with a person, a condition, something like that. But sometimes it just happens out of the blue. Yesterday I had one of those moments, and I'll share with you what that is because it's happened to me before, but it seems to be increasing now. And that is that I was riding my bike and I was going down a street, and suddenly this row of houses in a little housing development nearby just felt like this row of, cookie cutter houses. And, they're all lovely homes, and people around that neighborhood and around that same time of the day are sort of getting out of their cars and coming home from work or rounding up their kids for dinner, whatever that might be. But it's similar as I went down the block. And suddenly it's like, wait a minute, is this real? This kind of way, that lifestyle that everybody falls into. And, having grown up in a suburb, I remember what that was like even as a child, kind of wondering what is that, this stereotypical kind of way of like 9 to 5, we do such and such, in every yard you can see the same kind of sport equipment for their kids or whatever, is lined up in terms of the neighborhood, what happens there. And there's nothing wrong with all of that. I just find that, excuse me, I have something here, but I just find that, there's a certain, almost like a hypnotic routine that happens. Now, there have been other times when I've experienced that same thing, like I remember years ago in a completely different state, in a completely different town, a small town, walking down the street and feeling like, wait a minute, this feels like a movie set. It feels like I'm on a movie set, and there must be like powers that be all around me looking down upon me. It's as if though, there's maybe a veil that's pierced somehow, and the perception shifts about what it is that I'm perceiving in this moment, this reality that I'm walking in. And I happened to watch The Matrix the other night, and I love that movie. And, I feel like there's a lot of metaphors in that movie that kind of speak to this mystery of the Matrix. And while, that's a movie, and, there's been books written like that too, with that kind of, in between our, what is our existence here. And finding more and more the appeal of not just from, when I was in my 20s or a teenager and feeling more bold and adventurous and rebellious over whatever systems I perceived there to be, but just to be able to live in this authentic way that's true. And I often wonder what that's like, in this modern day age, how to break free and to really create out of this moment and out of being rather than the doing. And all the reasons that have been attributed to like, well, that's how you survive. That's how you pay your bills. That's how you pay your mortgage. That's how you raise your kids and send them to college or whatever that might be. And again, it's not because there's anything wrong with whatever choices that you make, but there's this inner stirring. And perhaps this is coming to you today as a meaningful moment because maybe you've been thinking about the same thing. I feel like COVID helped to move that shift in consciousness for a lot of people, finding all of a sudden, like in a disruptive and abrupt way, that there had to be a different way of perceiving, a different way of creating what their reality would be. And perhaps you're one of these people. But today, standing with you in this moment of wondering the mystery of the Matrix. And what is the Matrix? that you're going to participate in. I sometimes perceive that there is a star nation of which perhaps we have come from, and that is the matrix. And there's a blueprint upon the earth of points of light everywhere in those connections. And that's a different matrix. So again, to this moment of perceiving what that mystery is and which one I partake in.